Hi everybody, my name is Miles Wallace and I'm with Peak Performers. We're a nonprofit staffing and recruiting agency that helps professionals with disabilities find jobs. I'm here today to tell you about my top recruiter tip of this week, and that is your resume is not a tattoo. Expect to be able to change it. I work with a lot of job seekers that are a little bit more experienced, and sometimes they might be under the impression that their resume is perfect the way it as is, and they can't even touch it. They can't change it. They can't do really anything with it. The reality of it is that your resume is a marketing piece that needs to change and adapt, not only based off the times, but also based off the individual job that you're applying for. Let's talk about that and break it down into 6 tips. Realize that anything that you do with your resume is an exercise in creative writing. You might have to expand upon certain sections, you might have to retract certain sections, you might have to reword things based off of your audience. We don't necessarily know what you're talking about, and you might have to translate some of that for us, and you might also have to reinterpret some of the experience that you have to make it more applicable. Also realize that your job title is flexible. It's not something that's carved in stone. We might be oftentimes given job titles that are either kind of made up or not really applicable outside of the particular field that we're in. Sometimes they might be feel-good job titles, such as customer success manager, or sometimes they might be super vague, such as with the government agencies, it's often program specialist. What do we actually mean by program specialist? My best advice for you is include your working job title as it was there, and then just put in parentheses what your functional job title was, and you can really be pretty interpretive as far as what that actually means. You're gonna have to curate your content, especially if you're not on your first job but rather on your 5th or 6th or 10th job. You could probably write a whole book about your experience, but you don't have a whole book. You oftentimes have 1 or 2 pages. That experience is not lost just because you're not including it on the page. A lot of times you might be able to get into that during the interview as kind of an additional value add. Make sure that you take notes immediately after an interview. Every single time that you're taking an interview, you're getting all kinds of hints from the recruiters about what it is exactly that made them call you in the first place. Let's say, for example, they're really excited about X, Y, and Z on your resume. Is that an opportunity for you to highlight that more visibly on your resume so that more recruiters call you about that? But also, if recruiters are asking you a question about something that you think is obvious, maybe it's not as obvious as you think, change your resume regularly. This will help get you in the practice of not thinking about it as a tattoo or something that you can't physically change about yourself, but instead something that's malleable and changeable. The final bit that I would recommend is, at the very least, if you're not going to rewrite your resume or kind of restructure it based off the job that you're applying for, at least make sure that you have multiple versions of your resume. For my own particular example, I am a strategic partnership specialist, and that means that my job is a combination of recruiting and business development, community engagement, and marketing. That means that if I were to ever apply for other jobs outside of Peak Performers, I would functionally be creating 4 different resumes. I know that seems like a lot, but that's really going to be what I need to be able to better market myself, and that same might apply to you. Thanks so much for tuning in. Again, this has been Miles from Peak Performers. We are very actively recruiting right now, and we look forward to seeing your resume very soon.